Okay, that was someone at the door, but I'll just cut that out somehow. Okay, next one. These are the small 15 by 15 cute ones. What I like about them is the size, but you know, I like that it has so many things going on, and there is a little bit of negative space. We have the pore, we have the cells, and I put on these lovely little bits of metallic paint, which I really like. And as you can see, already has a couple of layers of varnish. This one needs one more and then it's good to go. And I signed it. This is how I sign my paintings. That's another question. It says AR, that is Annemarie Ridderhof, and then my last name. And then usually I'll put one here in the wood, and that's about how I sign them. Now there are a lot of questions about signing. The thing is that if you sign, even if you put your initials in a little here in the corner, you're determining how the customer has to hang the painting, because if you have your little signature here, the painting will never be hung like that or like that. It'll be upside down. So by putting it on the side like this, I'm giving that direction because I like it like that. But I'm pretty sure someone is going to come and say, no, I like it like that. So then no problem whatsoever, because here's the signature. And that's really, you know, I think the exception is when you positively want someone to hang something the way that you have envisioned it. Then I think you can put it on the front. But I'm sure a lot of customers appreciate it if you put it on the side. This one's still for sale, guys. This is another one I did a while back. This was leftover paint. Then I put the ribbons on. And as you can see, there's a little bit of gold in here. All along the ribbons, I put the gold on. I put that on later when the paint was dry. And let's see, here it is. Sometimes I put my name in gold, sometimes in blue. Just depends on what color I need for it to pop up a little bit, because if it's almost invisible, you know, that's not, you know, the way you should do it. So that's it. And talking about the back, guys, really. See, there are some fingers on here, but, you know, most of the time they look like this. And I've heard people talk about how do I, you know, what do I do with the back of the paintings? And I'm thinking, why do you have to do something with the back? Because it's art. This is, these are my fingerprints. It makes them just that little bit better. Now, here's another one. As you can see, my backs are pretty much tidy. And it helps because I have these push pins in. So no matter what happens when I have them on the table and I'm pouring, there won't be any paint, you know, on this part. And of course you want paint going around the corner, because that's, you know, what you want. You don't want some canvas peeking out here. That's usually why I do the background, and I do it with a brush. Like I say, when something comes over, let me get you in close. There you go. When something goes over the side and it looks like this, you don't want to have to come in with a brush and, you know, adjust the sides. You just want it to stay exactly like that, because it makes the makes for a beautiful painting side. I just love that. Look at that. So this is also a 15 by 15. Then I have something a little bit more different. I did a ring pour, but in the ring pour paint I put some silicone, so that's why I have these bands of cells popping up. The blue, I didn't add any silicone. That was really the background color, but all the other colors I put some silicone in, and that's why you see these beautiful bands of cells popping up. And again, I like it when it goes over the side and you have something to look at on the sides. So that's why I always do the sides. When I'm thinking something is going to go over the side, I'll just paint it on forehand. Now this is a 20 by 20. This one needs one final coat, but as you can see, there are no brush strokes. Yeah, well, here and there. If you really zoom in, you might see a little, you know, thing that's going like that. But yeah, guys, you can't almost not see it. It's almost like resin. And this is the varnish that I have developed myself. Sorry I can't share the recipe, but this one works for me. It has never cracked. And sometimes I think the whole deal about varnish cracking is that people tend to put on a really thick layer because it looks so pretty. And it's really easy on a clean canvas, that you put on a lot of varnish and then you know, with the brush you make it smooth, and that looks awesome because if you put it on really thick, you know, you will not see a brush stroke, but when it dries, it's going to crack like crazy. So what I always do first, and this is why I really don't appreciate people saying, oh, she just, you know, dumps some paint on a canvas and then sells it. You have no idea if you're thinking that, because the part I show you guys in my videos, the pouring part, is like the shortest part. You have to let it cure and all that stuff. Then you have to clean it really well, which I'll show you in a bit. So you have to clean the canvas. Then you have to let it dry again. Then you come in with a really thin, and I'm talking really thin layer of varnish, which I really watered down, because there's no problem in going from really thin to thick. There is a problem from going from thick to thin, because you shouldn't do that. So I put on a layer of really thin varnish. I let it dry for a day, come back, another really thin layer of varnish, let it dry for a day, and then I start to really varnish. So then I put the thicker coats on, and sometimes up to 5. So with the thinner layers, I'll have 7 layers of varnish on this, and that makes it that it looks like resin. See that? It is pretty. Pretty. Okay, now we've had that. Then I've had a lot of questions about that silver thing that I've done a couple of pours with this. You know, where you have this thing, and that opens up the hole as you, well, let's see, there you go. See, you can see right through, or you can just open it up a little bit. But what this is just a batter dispenser. People use this to, you know, put the batter in, then make pancakes, or fill up little muffin things. That's all it is. So I don't know where you buy them. I just saw one in a shop here in Holland. It was something like €4, say $5, something like that. And I thought it would be fun just trying it 1 or 2 times, and I did, and it was fun. So I might just go back to that. You know, when I have no inspiration and I'm thinking, how am I going to put the paint on the canvas? I'll take something like this and just do it. Now, the paper. This is the most asked question lately. So I'm getting a lot of questions about the paper. Now, what I use, in the beginning, I used a lot of Yupo. And Yupo is totally synthetic paper. Let me get a marker. Now, Yupo, you spell it like this. Yupo. That's Yupo. And I use 235 grams square meter. So they will give you, when you go buy Yupo, there will always be the weight of the Yupo will be on there. So I use the 235. But if you're not going to frame it or something like that, you can even go for the thinner one. It's no problem whatsoever, because remember, it's synthetic, it's waterproof, it will not buckle, it will stay flat as a pancake. So Yupo is a good thing to do your little pours on if you want to make jewelry, if you want to have something small to frame, anything you want, Yupo. If you can get it, here you go, here you see it, Kodak Extra Life paper. Now, I've heard some people have had luck buying it on Amazon, and some people said, you know, I've been looking for that paper for 2 or 3 months. I cannot find it. So I guess you just have to get lucky. And maybe you can even send an email to Kodak asking, you know, where can I buy this extra life paper? And the way to test other papers, because I'm pretty sure there are lots more of these papers out there, it's photo paper. That's number one. It's really shiny. Acrylic paint sticks on it like there's no tomorrow. It doesn't come off. It's not like you can peel the skin off. That doesn't work. And you can't see, if I tear it, you'll see what happens. There's a layer of plastic. See that? So I can pull it straight off. And that's what keeps this paper flat. Because if you're pouring on something like this, and the front has that also, but just a little bit more different. See, you can't tear this paper. See what happens? Then the top layer sort of comes loose. And I will pull that off also. So this is also plastic. And then what's left over, that you can tear because that's the real paper. But what you're pouring on is really just plastic. And that's good because acrylic paint is plastic. So it adheres to this like crazy, and it's perfect for doing the little the swipes and the squishes. And then afterwards you can use a punch and punch out something for maybe a greeting card or whatever. But as you can see, this is the paper you're looking for. Now, before buying a whole bulk of photo paper, you should be trying this out. You know, now I can tear it. If you can do that, it's not the perfect paper, because as soon as you can do this, you know that moisture is going to get into the paper. Now, if you can't tear it, and I'll get a little one now. See this one? This is the new one. Same stuff. Now, if you can't tear it, there's no way I can tear it whatsoever. So then you got the good stuff. Then you know it's not going to buckle, not going to warp, and that's it. Now, if you're thinking, oh, but I can just tape it. No, no, no. It doesn't work like that. Because if you tape it and you put paint on it, the thing is that it's not about that it has room to buckle. It is that the paper sucks up the moisture and expands. And when it expands, that's when it goes wobbly. So even though you were to tape it on a table, all four sides, you put moisture on it, it will expand. And so it has more room, so it's going to warp a little bit. So I really, if you're really serious about making jewelry and that kind of stuff, I think the best way to go is Yupo. And if you can buy this, then go for this, because this is much cheaper than Yupo. You can't use alcohol ink on it, because I've tried that. It doesn't work. I can show you. This is alcohol ink. Yeah. See, it's slipped out some. Can't help it. Now, if you were to put it on there, I'll just do that. See, it doesn't work like real Yupo. Yupo is just a little bit different. You see all the little holes in it because, of course, it's waterproof. And this is also alcohol proof. And Yupo does not do this. Yupo really, sucks up the color a little bit. And this doesn't. It just does not work. I've tried it. And I'm just showing you a little bit now. But believe me, I've tried it really, with blending alcohol and all that kind of stuff. It just doesn't work. And even after a while, there's sort of something that makes it, if I go over it, it just makes it come out. I don't know what that is, but it's not pretty. Maybe if you have a different technique, because there are also a lot of techniques in alcohol paintings, maybe then it'll work. I'm not sure about that. Let me get a blender. Here's a blender. Let me see if you can. Yeah, normally when I do this on the Yupo, you know, you'll see it expand a little bit because it's a blender. You can take it off, but then you got all the paint on the blender. You don't want that. But it just doesn't work, really, believe me. It would be a waste of your money if you bought this to do alcohol ink on. Okay, that was that one. Now I got to take a little break because I got to think of other questions that you asked me. Oh, about the mixing I'm going to do in a bit, and about the cracking, because the cracking is really a big issue. I know that is. So I'll be right back.